Hello, product people. Welcome to the Product for Product podcast, hosted by Matt Green, data advocate and product manager, and Masha Mikanovsky, product leader and author. Our goal is to serve the product community by helping you find products that can help make your work in product management easier. Thanks for joining us on another episode of the Product for Product podcast.
Welcome back. In today's episode, Michelle and I are speaking with Eva Gao about crafting product vision videos with the help of AI tools. Eva is a senior product manager at Quintic. Let's dive in. How you doing, Eva?
Yeah, I'm doing really well. Thank you, Matt, for the introduction. How are you?
Doing great. Thanks for joining the show. Michelle, how are you?
I'm good. Hi, Matt, and hi, Eva. Welcome to the show.
Hello.
And you're coming all the way from Hamburg, Germany, right?
Yes, I live in Germany, working remotely. The company is based in Berlin, Germany. Yeah.
Okay. How is the weather these days in Germany? I always like to hear weathers in different places of the world because I always hope you might have better one, but I kind of doubt it.
Yeah, you're right. Not in Hamburg, not in Hamburg. It's a rainy city, famously rainy city. But today is surprisingly sunny. So after our podcast, I'm going to sneak out for a while or so.
It's good for you.
Nice.
Yeah, here it's been clouded in Toronto for, I don't know, at least 10 days, so I've not seen the sun for that long. But even when we do see the sun over here in the winter, it's like -20, so it's very cold.
Very cold.
I know how that feels.
So I'm sure, Matt, you probably have the best weather.
I'm in the southern U.S. It's 60 today. It rained all day yesterday, but the sun's gonna come out. So so it's probably better weather than both of those, but it rained all day yesterday, so we're looking forward to getting outside today.
I wonder if we should start like a podcast about the weather. No, I'm joking.
We could. I love talking weather. Yeah.
I'm joking.
Weather and coffee.
Excellent. So welcome to the show, Eva. And one of the things that really intrigued us when we invited you was a post that I saw on LinkedIn about how you use different tools, different generative AI tools to create a product vision video. And so that was like really, really cool because I love product vision videos. I think they're great tools and not enough people are using them. And or product vision visualization in some way or shape. And Matt loves generative AI. So, and I think our audience know that already. And and therefore I thought this topic will be really awesome to talk about. So tell us first, what is that product vision video that you created for? Before you started talking about how you created it, let's talk first about the video itself.
I mean, I really believe all of these tools or videos it means to an end, because at the end of the day, the reason that I'm creating all this video is that currency in, I mean, again, I work for a B2B SaaS software company, and the company product itself is 16 years old. So it carries a lot of legacy. And I've got this goal, the goal that I have for myself 2024, that one part of this product, I want to carry all the customers from the legacy product to the new product, the alternative solution that is much faster, much stronger. And if you understand anything about B2B, we're so far and yet so close to all of our customers. They have so much influence on us. And internally, there's so many other parties, sales, service, consulting. They help us, but in the same time, they need to be convinced. And like Moshe just said, well, a lot of people don't use visions. And then in the end, people doubt, do you actually have a vision or not? Do you have a plan or not? Where exactly are you going? So, and after 2 years in the company, I've heard all of that. And I thought, all right, let's try something different this time. I'm going to visualize it in a funny video and see how that goes.
Oh, that's actually taking legacy to the next level with AI is ambitious and inspiring. So that's very cool. Michelle and I both come with a B2B background, so in products. So we definitely know what you're talking about there.
Yeah, you got that.
So who are the intended audience for the video? Was it your clients that were using the legacy and you wanted to move them to the new system, or was it also internal for people in the organization?
In this case, it's purely internal, all of the sales and consultants in the company. I mean, in B2B, your internal stakeholders are the hardest to please, right? Sometimes even harder than customers to please. They're actually my customers, so.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, we learned it sometimes the hard way. We think that, I remember when I started, I was a stakeholder because I was an engineer for many years, but I was also doing product management myself. No one did it for me. So back then it was like very fuzzy. But when I started in product management, to me it was a team. Like we are all on the same team. We have to go the same direction until I
Right.
realized that they're also my customers. So
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Thinking maybe before we kick into the video or the
Mhm.
work you did, maybe give a little background on Quintic and the work that you're doing there and the business itself, because that might help paint a picture around the vision that you
Mhm.
shaped.
Well, I do warn you, I can spend this entire podcast talking about the grand context of the industry and the challenges we face. I'll try to be short. Um, Funny enough, we all use ChatGPT a lot, right? And then, when you give ChatGPT a command, you probably need to give a long context.
Hmm.
And this is our industry. So I've had that saved as a saved prompt. So whenever I just reuse it, we call it document of principles. I may need to trademark that. So
Mhm.
essentially, the problem that Quantic now acquired by a much bigger group called AMCS Group. Essentially, the problem we're solving is everything around occupational hazard. So imagine you're a driver in a warehouse and you're surrounded by machineries, routes, fire hazard, electricity, and the incident can happen anytime. So to protect you, to make sure that you go home every day safe, there are lots of works around it to estimate the risk, to mitigate the risk, to report incident and unsafe situations as concerns, to implement protective measures and barriers and so on and so forth. Also safety trainings and so on. Also, if you're a guest visiting somewhere, you probably have already been briefed about the safety procedures there, and that also is the entire context things. And now to make things even more complicated, since we're acquired by this bigger company called AMCS, it's based in Ireland. It's a great company with a great suite of products, even greater context. So they started with waste recycling and transport, and now with
Mm.
EHS, we call it EHS, Industry, Environment, Health and Safety, and ESG. With all this entire suite form a circular economy. So from material recycling to transport management to safety and sustainability. So it's really, really a very exciting product vision.
Okay. And your product specifically is going to be able to help all the other products some way in specifically in the hazards, occupational hazards, or is there sometimes there is also when companies are being acquired, there might be like competing products in the acquiring company and stuff like that. So there's always a few challenges like that. So is that also the case?
That's right. That's right. So our product suite, let's say Quantic product suite, now is called EHS ESG. The biggest selling point of our product is that we handle everything to do with risk, incidents, sustainability. But before that, we did have a couple of product solutions that comes in. Um, I may call it overlapping features, or maybe let's call it product synergies. That at some point you do need to rethink about your user journey and your customer journey and a customer problem, which one is better in which context. But the acquisition happened about not too long ago, so we're still trying to figure out exactly the product synergy. That's
Right.
also a very exciting part of a B2B product manager.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Cool. No, that background, thank you for that. That background really
Hmm.
helps us.
I'm happy you're not lost.
No,
Oh
no,
no.
no. I think that this is actually a great background to understand what was maybe the legacy system, what's the new system, and therefore what would be like the concept of the video to help people see the value in moving the internal people, right? See the value into helping their clients do the migration, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
this is great. This is great too. I was working through your blog, so I was actually pulling up some of the tools that you've used, and I was replicating it in my own way. I took a fun spin on it, but having the background, you referenced a construction site, safety hazards. So the example you have now makes sense. So thank you for that.
Yeah, so tell us a bit more about that legacy system versus the new system and
Mhm.
why your internal stakeholders had hard time really either even trying, I don't know, you tell us. Was it trying to convince their clients to move to it, or was it even selling the new one? They still sold the legacy, or what was it exactly that held them back?
Mm. I mean, if I were to tomorrow, if I were to go to an all hands meeting, I ask all of my internal colleagues and say, please raise your hand if you think we should revert the entire new venture. No one will raise their hand. Or please raise your hand if you believe we need to run two same products in parallel. No one will raise their hand. So in that regard, everyone is clear about where we're going. But what is not clear is the longer it takes for us to move our customers to the new solution, the more technical debt and the less new things we can build. And these things just take a lot more time. So at the very beginning, we have this incident management tool, and it was entirely platform based. A lot of things didn't based on the newest technology. And then a couple of years ago, we decided that we could either migrate this legacy product, or we could build an alternative product and eventually sunset the old one. And I think for this type of discussion, you never have the perfect answer, right? But back then, the better argument was we're going to build an alternative one that is going to be entirely mobile based. So we have a platform solution plus an app solution on top. So it's
Mhm.
it's better on the sales side to have more things to sell. It's better on our side to have a scalable and 360-degree ecosystem. The new product, the new solution, let's call it, for a long time was called MVP internally. Because compared to the full-blown old product, it has very little capacities and very little capabilities.
Right.
Yeah, so last year, I spent about 3 out of 4 quarters just simply increase the capability of the new solution to make sure that it is in par or even stronger and faster than the old one. And that's when I believe we're really ready to move. But what I believe doesn't matter, right? It's about the internal people. They have to believe, they have to assist.
Inspire.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. They are the one also mostly dealing with the clients on a daily basis and stuff like that. Did they see also specific I don't know if rejection is the right word, but
Oh,
um
yes.
relying like that the clients didn't want to move on?
What I would say, if I can divide everyone by percentage, I would say 30%. So our internal people, they're really customer advocate. Our company, everyone, not just product management, they're very customer focused.
Mm,
So I would say if the customer wanted, they will go. If the customer doesn't, it gets very hard, especially B2B B2B customers represent a lot of your bottom line. And I would say 30% of our customers, when they hear, we're not going to invest in the old solution anymore, we have a new one, they will say, I want a new one. Because it doesn't make sense to invest in the old one. 30% of our customers completely angels and completely praise them. Another 70% of the customer have this classical mindset of if something works, if I'm used to something, please don't change.
mhm,
And that 70% is really difficult to move. But then at the same time, if we try to make any change, we can also tier it. So in this 70%, I also tiered like 3 different tiers, and tier one is the easiest to move. Is that they bought the solution, they don't have 100,000 incidents recorded in there. They use it in a very mild base, and they're not particularly fond of the solution either. So they can be the first batch to move to the new solution because it's faster and stronger.
right.
And the second tier is they've been using the old solution for a long time, and then but then they don't have any custom workflow in there. We offer a lot of as classic beauty software
Okay. Mhm,
workflow. And then tier three is a lot of incident, using it for a decade, custom workflow, so much usage, so deep in. I'm like, okay, perhaps that will be the last 20-25%. We're gonna have to use incentives, sales incentives.
That's very interesting, and thank you for framing that over because then when we talk about the video, um, we understand that internally the salespeople, everyone, they were very supportive to move forward, but it's always like if the clients want it, we'll do it. If the clients doesn't want it, there is not much we can do. So what was the point or points that you wanted to bring up in the video that will convince the internal stakeholders, not just that it's because the customer wants, but also because we want?
Yeah. So, at the very beginning, I was imagining, I like storytelling. It actually is the part that excites me about the job. I was imagining a person carrying a big bucket of stones for some reason. He's trying to move a mountain. And the first stone is technical debt. And the second stone is, all right, the customers are so attached to the old solution and they keep ordering new workflows. And then another big rock. And then a new workflow makes it even harder to move to the new solution. So another big rock. And then we require new features, but it takes longer to build new features in the classic stack. So another big rock. I was thinking maybe I will visualize this, but at the end of the day, this is still selling the pain. And I want to focus more. That might have already itself be another video, right? But then in this video, what I wanted to do is focus on the strengths of the new solution. What I want to show is the things I know I want them to know as well. And I want them to know that this is really a strong product, not an MVP anymore. And secondly, what is the future? And that's when I thought about sci-fi. Our company's got a sci-fi culture. So I'm not a big sci-fi fan. I never watched Star Wars. But in our company, everyone refers to a project with a Star Wars character touch, like Project Lightsaber, Project,
Nice.
what is it, Falcon, this spaceship.
We already have the setting that they connect to that.
Yes.
Right?
You already
Yeah,
had the settings that they connect to that. Your users, your
exactly.
stakeholders connect to
Yeah.
that.
I was Googling some Star Wars characters. In the end, I realized, you know what, I'm not gonna fake it. I don't know anything about Star Wars. The only thing about sci-fi I know is Doctor Who. Grew up watching Doctor Who. I thought about this TARDIS, this police box. It is durable. It carried about 10 to, I don't know how many doctors, 16 doctors. It carried all these doctors, right, through space, through time. And that could be our new solution. I think it's a great analogy.
Oh,
That
that's
is
cool.
durable. It carries you through solutions. And at the end of the video, I had this message: please let go. There will always be another doctor. Every generation of doctor is stronger, but
That's
habits
truth.
carries them. So I just make that analogy, and I think that is actually the message I wanted to convey.
I love it. I love it. So we're talking about storytelling, and which we know it's very important for product managers. We even have an episode recently about that. In that episode, we were talking more about how do we tell the story of the product to external people, but maybe also to internal people. This is not the story of the product. This is more of the story of our company that create the product and what the future can be like, where we are because of what we do right now. So that's another great place to share a story or to use a story for conveying the message. And then on top of that, applying the culture of the organization that already has this internal culture that you understand and everyone in the company understand. Outside, maybe people will not understand, but that's fine because that's not your aim of your story at the moment or this video.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's awesome. That's really great. So you came up, I guess, with a little script based on that, right? And then, so what did you do next? The exciting part, right?
Yep.
Yeah, the exciting part is dig around and find the right tools. I don't know how you find new tools, but I find Googling isn't helpful anymore. Because when you Google, there are like 20 different tools, whatever you
There's so
do.
many tools.
So many. Every minute, there's another new AI tool pops out. So
That's right.
yeah, and I use so I like to use Instagram and YouTube. I just do YouTube as some AI video tutorials. And again, actually today I was just having a discussion with a product leader about, he said your video is not entirely a video that is full of footages, but rather with images. It's like image based video. And I said, yeah, that's first of all, I found a couple of tools that can create a non-static video with actual clips, video clips. But then on the other hand, is very difficult to control. So for example, I used Picker Art. That
Yeah, pick
is
up.
so far a very neat. Again, there are so many video generating apps, but this is so far so great that you start with a 3 second video,
Yep.
and then if you like it, you can retry. You can generate 5 different ones, and you like which one of the styles that you like it, and you can choose to add another 4 seconds, and then you add another 4 seconds, and you just go on. I think that was a good idea, but then again, for the particular message I want to convey, I think image-based video still is a good choice. And then that was the invideo.ai that I found, and that is a tool that you can you pop in the script, and it actually, what I like about invideo.ai is that you pop in the script, it actually rewrites the script for you to fit to help you tell the story even better, and then it gives you a lot of stock images. And I just basically replace all of the stock images with the images that I generated myself via beautiful AI and Playground.
Oh, interesting.
Right.
So basically you make a decision that it will be easier to do with images rather than videos. Then within video, you put your script, they rewrite the script for you to make it even better. It generated some stock videos, but he didn't want to use those stock videos. He wanted to use also AI generated images.
Images, AI
Videos.
generated images, yeah.
I see. Okay. But even the videos, even the images that NVIDIA AI would give you, those would be free to use. I assume they use
Yeah.
like stock images that are free to use, right?
Yeah, I believe so. I believe so. You could remove the watermarks and so on. I mean, the once again, the video about vision is that it would still tell a story about Doctor Who, about TARDIS, about carrying you through space and time. So the image could go quite all over the places and very inexplicit. But then the story I want to tell is quite explicit about features instead of I'm trying to connect every feature to everything in Doctor Who. So I think for me, I still like that little bit of control when I can generate an
Yeah.
image instead of using a stock image.
Yeah, that's a great point. I've been using a product called Runway ML. It's like Pika that you mentioned, where you can create the video, but it does like 4 seconds, and then you can build it to 8 seconds, but you lose control of the imaging as you move along. You can build a 20-second video, but the image can morph as the AI tries to stack all the stuff together. And so your point about losing control of the actual movie itself, the way it looks is great, but the control is limited. So I do like your approach, and I did check out Envision, and I actually did a YouTube short. So while we're talking sci-fi, I did a cosmic surfer, and so it actually generated a whole story for me, a YouTube short of a cosmic surfer that's surfing the waves of the universe.
That's
The
fantastic.
Yeah, and it does voiceover, AI voiceover, as you mentioned in your blog. And this is kind of going back to I followed along with your blog, but it did a 1 minute and 15-second video,
Mm.
which you struggle to do with Runway ML at this point. But the image quality you can't I wasn't able to control that at this point. But I just wanted to mention that. That's
Absolutely. And then another thing with image generation, for example, Playground, or also I think Midjourney as well, is that
mhm.
when you want to create a sequence of images, you lose the original look of the image, right? Because you just prompt in, prompt out, prompt in, prompt out.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure the product managers who create the AI already know we have all that problem. So now they have all implemented seed number, right? You just copy the seed number to your
Yes.
next image, and then they generate the next video, sorry, the next image based on the style. It's
Right.
still a bit because I think once you use the seed number, that's at least my practice, is that once you use the seed number, it of course keeps the layout and the style, but in the same time, it has to ignore some of the text in your prompt.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what I find out. So you're gonna have to do a bit of trade-off at this stage.
That's what I experienced that as well. So I took my Cosmic Surfer over to Playground, and so I started building out images of him surfing, of trying to get him to surf to get out of the water. So as I changed my prompt, say, okay, now he's riding the wave. My next prompt is, well, he's now getting out of the water, but the seed was keeping him in the water and actually made him sit on a wave instead of sitting on the beach. So to your point, the seed was keeping me in the water. But
Yeah.
this is a fun exercise, so I'm going to keep playing with it.
How
Yeah.
much that's one of the things to me about generative AI these days, that the art of prompting, and I think there is also already a title for that, but you see how much I don't follow that trend so much because I don't even know what the title is, but
Prompt engineering.
Oh, prompt engineering. That's
Yes,
right. That's
prompt
right.
Yeah.
engineering. Thank you. You
Yep.
see, so how much of that is really you think needs to be still learned by people, so this way we are much more effective in the way we're using the generative AI? Because to me, maybe I don't have patience. And to me, I'm like, I give it the first few prompts, and then I'm like, oh, that's not really what I want. And my reaction after that is, this generative AI sucks. But Matt has much more, patience to it, and he will give it the prompt, and it will, and you too, because you've done that, and all the people that like are raving about generative AI. So maybe it's patience part of it, but did you struggle with that throughout this process, or you
Yeah,
you
absolutely.
just love doing that to see what will happen if you change the prompt a bit?
I am the least patient person on earth, and I have totally and utterly suffered from that. But I do believe we can grow with our prompts. We can grow with our
Mhm.
tool. I've so last week, one example is last week I told one of my colleagues that so we have this junior PM in the team and she's about to leave the company. And the other person said, well, yeah, but how long did it take you to teach her to do things instead of the things that you do it by yourself? And I said, well, it's different. Of course, it takes me time to teach her to do things. And in that time, I might have just done the job myself. And I think it's the same with prompts, right?
That's my
But
point.
right. But then in the meantime, I think we can grow with our prompt. And then perhaps that is the skill that we need to practice in this age. And then secondly, I really think it's a lovely thing that you can see what you do has immediate influence. I tell you a very fun fact. I don't know, Matt, if you realize that, is that AI generated image is so AI most of the tool they read the prompt from left to right. So if you say I want to do an apple and a pear, and it will for sure generate an apple to the left of the image and a pear to the right of the image. And then if you want it the other way around, write the prompt the other way around. Or if there's only one person or one figure, one object in the image, and that image will most of the time was generated in the middle of the center of the image, it's very symmetrical.
Mhm.
So once you realize that it's like dealing with a little baby growing up, and you have to know
Mhm.
the tempo, and then you have direct influence to it. Everything you adjust gives you, and also the composition, right? Maybe the AI tools, they only learn from very beautiful photos with perfect makeup, right?
Yeah. I get a prompt good enough to start, and then I iterate on it. So,
Yeah.
going back to my Cosmic Surfer with the InVision, I put this in, and it came out with a foreign accent, a male foreign accent, as my AI voiceover telling the story. So I said, change that to an American woman. I'm used to like Siri and stuff, so I changed that. So it immediately regenerated it, and then changed the voiceover to an American woman for me. So you don't have to know it all up front to get what you want. You can really take an iterative approach and kind
That's
of
a
build it like a product.
that's a
Yes,
great way.
exactly.
Yeah, that's a great way to look at that. That's what I
Yep.
was thinking exactly when you were saying that, and I never thought about it that way. So maybe I should start. I don't know.
It's also like delegating. Imagine you delegating the task to someone from your team, then
Yeah,
perhaps
yeah.
the description is in the prompt. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's very interesting because throughout my career, I did learn the hard way also to delegate and to not take the approach of, okay, there is no time to, teach this person to do it, so I will just do it myself, but rather take the time to teach it because that's how they grow and that's how they become, great in whatever they do. So, but I never took that approach with generative AI. So maybe
we're,
we'll see.
we'll,
We'll
we'll,
see. Maybe eventually, after I don't know how many episodes, eventually I will
I'm
be
going to convert.
converted. I will be converted.
Yes.
But maybe also we need an episode about prompt engineering now. So
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
That'd be
yeah,
cool.
absolutely, absolutely. So No, that's very fascinating. So you created a video, and how was it accepted internally in the organization? First of all, how did you send it out to people? Did you use a specific tool to communicate it with people? And then what did they say? What was the reaction?
Yeah, so I did it also incrementally. So at the very, I mean, let's say this product conversion, it involves account management for upselling and cross-selling because it involves another product license, and it involves service and consultant, customer success, and sales. So I mean, I made the entire plan of when do we move, how many customers do we move per month, what is the ideal customer profile, what is the script that we need to use to migrate data, and so on and so forth. But I couldn't possibly just simply design this and say, hey, this is a plan, this is a video, now go.
Yeah.
So I think I spent for about 4 to 5 weeks just talking to some representative colleagues from all these teams. And I said, hey, I've got this something that I want to run by you. What is your opinion on that? And then I would present, like, it's still a mirror board and present the mirror board, and they've given me the input, always very helpful. And I was like, hey, have a look at this. It's a 1 minute video. Have a look at this. Yeah. And then they were like, yeah, I think you're putting some thought to it. It's nice that you lay out all these product benefits. I think most of the feedback that I received was not that, oh, you made an AI video, but rather, oh, it's very nicely that you laid out all these product benefits for us. So they feel like some work has been done, some work has been put into it.
I think that's a great point. Like you took a lot of time to think about the problem, think about the vision, think about how you wanted to communicate that, because building this, it's not a snap of a finger. You're not just like creating an AI video just out of the blue. It's not perfect. So you really have to be attentive on what you're creating, how you're creating it, each frame by frame,
And
even
and
for
then
even yeah,
and then test it and get feedback from the users even before it's
right.
done. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm. Awesome. So I guess you iterated on the video until you had, I don't know if you call it an MVP or you had a version that, because the MVP is probably those mirror boards that you show them, but
Mhm.
you had a version that you felt, yes, this is a version you can send the message to everyone, I guess.
Yeah, so we internally we have those kind of formats that we called a product webinar, where whenever there's something new, you as a product manager, you schedule a webinar to the people, and during this webinar, I show this video, and it was again the result was mostly not on video, but mostly on the message that it conveys, which is all I wanted.
Yeah.
Right? That's the message. But I tell you a very funny story is that when you get AI right, you could still get the very fundamental technicalities wrong. The first time when I show the video, and then in our company we use Teams, and I thought I didn't even know how to share the audio from my computer. So I was just playing a video without any audio, and people were like, hey, you can toggle that. And then I remember, okay, always put in subtitles in case that kind of thing happens. So now
Right.
I put in subtitles for all the videos.
Right. Right. That's great. And that was remote, of course, right?
Remote, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. No, that's there is always some learnings from what we do and stuff like that. Amazing. And did you see when was it? How long ago was that you started sharing it?
Must have been end of November or early December.
Okay, so a couple of months.
Couple of
So
months.
did you see any changes in their behavior and in their in the target numbers of conversions of or planned conversions of plans?
Unfortunately, not yet. Unfortunately,
Hmm.
not yet. But
Hmm.
the great things is so it comes with steps of upselling or cross-selling, and then onboarding, and then data migration, and then start to take off. And the plan or my initial plan is to have 5 to 10 customers migrated per month. That is very ambitious, that I know. But then
Hmm.
um, at the end of February, that is another buy-in that you can't exchange with anything else. At the end of February, I will have a formal meeting with the account management team to discuss exactly what numbers that we can achieve. It's not going to be a goal that is hanging above everyone's head, but
Yeah,
it's a very well intention that we intend to go for this project.
yeah. So if we're looking at this video as a product that you built, and throughout the entire description, it does, it does sound like a product by itself. How would you measure the success of saying, yes, this was successful, or the message came through, and therefore we are able to achieve what we're trying to achieve with that?
Well, that's a very good question, because none of this would mean anything if in the end the customer is still staying with a legacy product, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, I think that will be the fundamental success, is that this really gives a big push. So I put that video in the documentation page. So whenever people visit documentation page, they get reminded about what is our vision. I'm pretty sure along the way of this long project, I'm going to produce a couple of other videos to,
Yeah.
based on the situation.
No, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think it's a great way to do that. And like any product, creating the product is one thing. Going to market and seeing that there is an outcome with the product is a whole different things that we have to still do, measure, and then reiterate on the product. Um, but and that's where we kind of like see if the message is out there and stuff like that. It's really interesting exercise to think about, is there also some leading indicators rather than trailing indicators for that, right?
Yeah.
So a conversion of the clients will be a trailing one because it will be after the fact, right?
Yeah.
A leading one might be change of behavior with the salespeople and success people when they talk with the clients.
Yeah.
Maybe they will ask you to create a video that will convince the client. So maybe they will see the value in that and will say, okay, we are convinced. Now we need more tools to be convinced with the clients. And the more they ask you for that, that's a leading indicator maybe. But that will be
Absolutely.
really interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
Perfect. Um, Now, I have one last question about these tools that you used, and we will share with our description. So please send us, the exact names so I don't
Uh-huh.
make any typos of the tools and etc. And Matt, maybe we'll share your video if you're open to that, because Eva's video is internal, so I don't know if she can share it externally, but yours, if you want to share it with people, we can do
Yeah.
that because you mentioned it on the show. But did you use like a free version of this generative AI, or did you have to upgrade? Because some people, they're reluctant to spend the money for some generative AIs or whatever, especially if they do it for their own work, or they don't have the right budget for that. They're not expensive, especially in organization settings. It shouldn't be a problem. But still, what level of license did you have to use for them?
So far, I've only been using the free versions.
Oh,
And I'm pretty sure internally in the company, we've got procurement processes. So you could request the ISOs. So currently, for example, we have self-hosted ChatGPT. So we could safely use ChatGPT without exposing all of our intellectual properties. But then in the meantime, I believe a lot of people are skeptics of AI tool. So whenever we want to purchase some AI tool, the process of reviewing and explaining is pretty long. But in 2024, I was just thinking in 2024, I want to actually within our own product management team begin to have a few principles about doing product management using AI. For example, we spend hours and hours doing documentations, but all of these documentation are in Jira tickets. So why don't I just pop in all the
yeah,
Jira tickets,
yeah,
write documentation, all of
yeah,
these principles, and I really think one thing is your organization's data security need, and the other one is are all of your product managers or everyone doing this together? Do you have a collective standard to use any of these tools? And
yeah.
when you do, I'm pretty sure it's a good um it's a good lift for the qualities that you could produce together.
Absolutely. And that might be the trend that we're going to see in the coming year for especially with security and making sure that the IP of the organization is not in any
Right.
risk because of that exposure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's certainly a key point. Anything you're putting in the prompt, make sure you're not opening yourself up to security compliance concerns. So that's definitely a good point here. And I like, as we were going through this, I'm thinking as product managers, we're going to get more and more AI assistance along the way. So that's going to be writing documentation, tickets, and stuff like that. But like, so I envision maybe 5 years down the road, there's going to be like this stack of AI tools for product management, and things like this are going to play a part. I think video is going to get better. Imaging is going to get better to where, we come up with user personas. And if you're able to create a video based upon the problem that the persona that the user is experiencing, wouldn't it be powerful to, like, instead of writing something like, hey, here's this user that does X, Y, Z, wouldn't it be powerful if you did a video of that person? It could be a cartoon of that person, but like, them facing the problem and where they're struggling, a visual representation of that based upon a
Yeah.
prompt that you come up with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then tell the story of it and how your product solves that. We're still far away from that. There's still a lot of improvement with AI. This has been a fascinating conversation, and it's really got me thinking a lot about how we can apply this in the future.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Definitely exciting.
That is a great usage for that. Absolutely.
When you write a user story, as a user, I want to, so that just replace
Yeah.
that with video, right?
Just replace with a video, right? If you're able to do the AI audio over for accessibility stuff like that,
Yep.
for people, people can listen to it and stuff. I
Mhm.
think that'd be pretty cool application. So I might be onto something. So
Nice, nice, nice. Okay, thank you so much, Eva. I don't have any other questions. What about you, Matt?
Well, I've got a lot of ideas in my head now. Ava, this has been a pleasure. Open to talking more about it. Excited to see where AI takes itself, but then takes product management. So, really appreciate you coming on the show. I really enjoy your blog. I've enjoyed the tools that you referenced in here. They've opened me up to some new things like Playground. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you very much for having me and your time. Would love to keep in touch.
Yeah, for
Absolutely,
sure.
absolutely, yes.
Sure.
If people want to reach out to you, where they can reach out?
My LinkedIn, and
Okay.
there's also some always links to my blog.
Oh yes, and Matt also mentioned that, so we should include it also in the description so people can follow that as well.
All right, yeah.
Yeah.
And then I'm always keen on feedback. So if there's any other AI AI experienced users, I would love to exchange experience.
Awesome. Yeah. Perfect. Thank you so much, Eva.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you, Ava. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you to all the listeners, and we'll talk to you next time.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Take care.
Thank you to all the listeners. We really appreciate the feedback and support. Please leave us a review to help others find the show on Apple or Spotify or anywhere else you're listening to the show.